We'll talk about the building blocks behind sales and operations planning. Following is a general structure and sequence of the S&OP process. S&OP is all about planning. Now, in this process, the first step in the monthly cycle would be to review the KPIs, demand, supply, and analytics KPIs across the entire supply chain. So this would be the start of the monthly process or monthly S&OP process. Sales and operations planning generally follows a monthly cadence with different activities in week 1 all the way through week 4. Start with compiling the KPIs and a review of the KPIs, key performance indicators or metrics across the supply chain. Then, based on the information that's unearthed from the KPIs, both in terms of service levels, inventory issues, stockouts, excess inventory, and forecast accuracy, the first step would be feedback into the data science or modeling team in terms of looking at the models and see what needs to be changed. So this model tuning / data science step would be the first step to review by exception, because data changes all the time, business changes all the time. The next step would be to use the baseline that comes from a statistical model or a machine learning model, which is what we would use as a baseline, and provide this information as a baseline to the regional sales teams. The regional sales teams or the customer teams would develop a customer level forecast, and this is based on the selling activity that is happening on an ongoing basis. Now, the baseline forecast would be one indicator or general baseline for the review, but their adjustments and refinement of the forecast will happen based on dialogue with the key customers. Now, account-based forecasting is a separate process where the intelligence gathering is separated and distinguished by account and prioritized based on the impact of each of the key accounts. So the regional sales teams formulate the forecast at the account level, customer level. It could be customer SKU or customer product family at slightly higher level. Because at the end of the day, you want to get market intelligence from the customer / market. Then this feeds into a product forecasting team called the BU team or the product forecasting team, which would be responsible for forecasting at the category level. You'll have separate teams or a demand planning team that's charged with forecasting for different product categories. Now, they would also review the account level forecast for each of their SKUs as one data point, but they would generally interface with the marketing team to look at new product plans, product transitions, discontinuances, and such. So they would triangulate between the regional information that comes from the sales teams at the account level and the marketing information and marketing plans that are put together at the product level. Now, then this has to feed into a demand planning or a reconciliation process where the demand planners would be looking at both product level forecasts and account level forecasts and have a dialogue between the different demand teams to understand the impact, and they understand the financial impact and the supply chain impact. So this reconciliation process is important. Most companies would call it a demand dialogue process or a demand consensus process within S&OP. So the key step in the S&OP is initially to have a demand consensus. Then the information is fed to supply planners in week 2, and supply would just review and come up with a supply response. And this is based on running a rough cut plan and a production plan. Now, the final step would be a demand-supply dialogue to understand where we have issues and how they can be solved collaboratively. And this information may feed both the sales teams and the product teams to see how they can resolve potential stockout issues, potential supply issues, what kind of programs can be implemented to initiate an excess supply situation. Now, this is a supply driven process, but really market facing, so that you go back to the market and offer any type of promotions to move excess inventory. So it's really an ongoing process between demand and supply, and the dynamic is continuous and evolving between product teams, customer teams, and the supply teams. So this forms a holistic S&OP process where the cycle rotates every month and sometimes within the month to resolve either excess inventory situations or stockout situations caused by demand surges.